How's it going, lads? It's the Bald Boomer Biosparks with another Burning Crusade classic video. And today, I'm going to talk about a comp that allows players to try different things than the very common ones found in the arena, which is the Shadowplay comp, which consists of an Affliction Warlock, a Shadow Priest, and a Restoration Shaman. We'll be looking at key information such as how each class plays its role in the team, alongside strengths, potential weaknesses, and race choices that you may want to consider. And as always, if you enjoy what I do, please hit that subscribe and notification bell, as there'll be more Burning Crusade classic content coming in the future. I like to consider 4 areas whenever I look at arena compositions, which are survivability, kill pressure, control, and longevity. Survivability is measured against how well a team is able to survive bursts of damage. Kill pressure is how well a team is able to create situations in which they can secure a kill with bursts of damage and how often they can take advantage of this. Control is measured by how a team is able to dictate a match into their favour, so this will include forms of crowd control and how they command areas of space within the arena floor, as well as draining mana. Longevity is how well a team fares the longer a match progresses, which takes into consideration mana conservation and cooldown management, since some team compositions prefer shorter matches and others become stronger the longer the match drags on. For survivability, Shadowplay scores a 3 out of 5, since the Warlock won't be running Soul Link, meaning that incoming damage won't be split between the demon. This makes them an attractive target, especially due to their low mobility. However, the Shadow Priest has Shadow Form, which provides good damage mitigation from physical attacks, as well as Power Word Shield to assist themselves and teammates, as well as some supplementary healing from Vampiric Embrace. The Shaman also has Earth Shield, which heals a target when they're hit, as well as providing a 30% chance to ignore spell pushback when receiving damage. They also provide powerful healing spells and an array of totems to support the team in many diverse situations, and every member having health stones also assist in staying alive. For kill pressure, the Shadowplay comp scores a 5 out of 5, since the potential for this team to go on an all-out assault is huge. The Affliction Warlock and Shadow Priest synergize very well by boosting their overall shadow damage on targets, as well as having a range of damage over time and direct damage spells for maximum effect. This, combined with the dispel denying power of Unstable Affliction, ensures full uptime of their spells. On top of this, when the team goes for a kill, the Shaman has Bloodlust or Heroism, giving an amazing 30% haste bonus to casting. For control, Shadowplay scores a 4 out of 5, with the team having access to a wide range of instant cast Fears, Death Coil, Stun, Silence, and other interrupting effects, and even a 20% reduced healing effect for Troll Priests with Hex of Weakness. To add to this, the whole team has access to a combination of offensive and defensive dispels. One of the areas in which Shadowplay is lackluster for control is their movement denial, since they only have Frost Shock, Earthbind Totem, or Curse of Exhaustion, which ultimately reduces the damage output of the Warlock and requires a talent point dedicated to it. Another drawback is the fact that the Priest and Warlock fears share diminishing returns, though make no mistake, the amount of control this team can dish out is not to be underestimated. For longevity, Shadowplay scores a 4 out of 5 since every class is able to regenerate mana in some way or form. The Priest has the Shadow Fiend once every 5 minutes to regenerate bursts of mana, as well as Vampiric Touch, regenerating the team's mana reserves through their damage. The Warlock can life tap if they're in a safe position to do so, and the Shaman has Mana Tide Totem, Mana Spring, and Water Shield to continuously regenerate their mana. Although good teams will be actively trying to destroy important totems, so good placement is key. Now we'll take a closer look at the classes and the roles they play within the Shadowplay comp. First up is the Affliction Warlock, which has some similarities and differences compared to the playstyle of the SL spec. As part of Shadowplay, the key spell that has to be used is Unstable Affliction. It creates a huge deterrent for Dispellers to wipe off the Warlock and Priest debuffs, since if Unstable Affliction does get dispelled, it will trigger a 5-second silence and a burst of damage to the Dispeller. This creates a situation where healers will be forced to just heal through the damage, which will cause them to use up their mana reserves faster. The Affliction tree very much focuses on the damage over time capabilities, but also complements the use of Drain Life and Drain Mana from the Soul Siphon talent, which drains 5% more for every Affliction spell that is on the target, which provides more survivability. The rest of the tree really focuses on maximizing the Warlock's damage potential exponentially, especially when compared to the SL spec. On top of this, the Warlock can choose to branch into the Destruction tree towards Shadowburn, as well as picking up improved Shadow Bolt to increase the shadow damage output of direct damage spells, including those of the Shadow Priest. However, if survivability is an issue, then branching into Demonology will provide more stamina and maximum health, since the Warlock won't have Soul Link to assist with damage mitigation. Pet management, as always, will play a huge role in this team. Since the Warlock can use the Fell Hunter to offensively and defensively dispel targets, especially if the Priest gets feared or polymorphed, it is important to keep their demon alive, as well as taking full advantage of the Fell Hunter's silence. While losing the pet may not be as punishing as it is for a Soul Link Warlock, it still reduces the dispelling and interrupting capabilities of the team, so don't fall into the trap of thinking that the Fell Hunter is expendable. Going deep into the Affliction tree grants access to improved Howl of Terror, which essentially mimics Psychic Scream, so if there are any targets surrounding the Warlock, an instant Fear Bomb can have devastating results, as well as the normal Fear ability, which can be used to great effect in all situations alongside the iconic Death Coil ability. Ultimately, the Warlock can provide a lot of kill pressure for the Shadowplay team, but only if they are successful in managing their control responsibilities, which in turn will let them keep up Unstable Affliction, along with their other damage over time spells, as well as weaving in Shadow Bolts. The next member of the team is the Shadow Priest, which is definitely the Warlock's best friend since their shadow damage synergizes so well together. The main priority for the Priest is to focus on the main kill target and unload a barrage of shadow spells. This has several purposes. Vampiric Touch and Vampiric Embrace will give the team health and mana back from damage dealt, but more importantly is the combination of getting Shadow Weaving to 5 stacks combined with Misery. The reason why is because Misery will cause the target to take an additional 5% spell damage from all sources, and Shadow Weaving will increase the target's shadow damage taken by 10%. The Warlock will be running a talent called Shadow Mastery, which will increase their shadow damage done by 10% as well, and this already stacks with all their other Affliction talent bonuses as well. I think it's very easy to see why the kill pressure from this team is so intense when you have all these effects stacking on top of each other. And remember, Unstable Affliction will deter healers from dispelling all the debuffs as well. It is this combination of spells from the Shadow Priest and Warlock that can rot teams away if they underestimate this team composition. While damage dealing is the main role of the Shadow Priest, they can't ignore other important responsibilities. They have a reliable Dispel whenever needed, as well as Mass Dispel, which is amazing against a Paladin's Bubble and Mage's Ice Block. They will also be called upon to silence targets for 5 seconds, which is very useful when securing a kill, especially when combined with Spell Lock from the Fell Hunter. The Priest also has a reliable Fear that can hit up to 5 targets, which can pressure opponents into bad positions. Blackout will be very useful since it has a 10% chance to stun a target for 3 seconds when they take damage from your shadow spells, which the Shadow Priest uses almost exclusively. Another important spell to use is Power Word Shield, since the Priest can assist any member of the team that is being focused, while the Shaman can heal them. And lastly, a well-known trick that Shadow Priest can use is casting Shadow Word Death on a target as they get hit by Polymorph. Since the reflected damage is slightly delayed, it will break the Polymorph as well as begin the diminishing return cooldown. I think I've made it clear how the Shadow Priest, while being able to deliver good damage, acts as a facilitator to unlock the full potential of the Warlock's offensive capabilities, so that they can overwhelm teams with an onslaught of damage. The last member of the team is the Shaman, who plays the support role. Shamans overall have lower representation within the arena, but this is a comp that suits them very well. They can see whichever member of their team is getting focused and cast Earth Shield on them. If they're against someone who is insistent on dispelling the Earth Shield, they can use a rank 1 version and save mana, whilst the Dispeller burns their mana trying to dispel it all the time. The role of the Shaman is a mix of offensive and defensive playstyles. For example, while the Priest and Warlock are focusing someone, the Shaman can use Purge to instantly dispel any buffs, shields, or heal over time spells landing on the kill target. To add on to this, the Shaman can use Earthshock to interrupt casters every 6 seconds, which just adds to the immense kill pressure the team already has. Also, if the kill target is low, the Shaman can also help out with some offensive spells like Chain Lightning and Frost Shocks to help secure the kill. One huge thing the Shaman brings to the team is their Bloodlust or Heroism, giving a huge 30% haste buff to the whole team, which creates a window where the Shadowplay comp can maximize their kill potential and unload a huge amount of damage. While the Priest and the Warlock can cover the role of defensively dispelling magic effects, the Shaman has a key role of cleansing poisons, especially the Viper Sting and Crippling Poison, since the Warlock and Priest want to move around unimpeded and continue taking advantage of their relentless assault of spells. The Shaman can do this with Cure Poison or Pet Poison Cleansing Totem, though the spell will probably be used far more often since the totem pulses once every 5 seconds. Speaking of totems, the Shaman has many totems to assist the team. The most notable totems for Earth are Tremor, Earthbind, and Stone Skin, which assist with Fear Dispels, Movement Denial, and melee damage reduction. The Air totems are Wrath of Air, Grounding Totem, and Wind Wall, which will increase spell damage for the team, divert a harmful spell to the totem, and reduce incoming range damage. The Water totems have varied utilities such as Mana Spring, Mana Tide, Poison Cleansing, which can increase the longevity of the team, with mana regeneration, which also synergizes very well with the Shadow Priest's Vampiric Touch, and also the Shaman's Water Shield. The Fire totems mainly focus on dealing damage to targets, so it can be argued that it might be wiser to save mana for more important things. It has to be said that totem placement is very important, since good teams will usually be clearing the Shaman's totems very often, especially Mana Tide. A good team will never let a Shaman regenerate 24% of their team's maximum mana for free, so the window of opportunity has to be chosen well. One thing that has to be understood is that apart from Nature's Swiftness and Earth Shield, the Shaman only has direct cast heals, which means that positioning and avoiding crowd control and fake casting interrupts is going to be very important for the Shaman. While the Warlock and Shadow Priest will be very aggressive to put other teams on the back foot, if they are exposed because their healer is continually crowd controlled or silenced, then it will be a very quick defeat, since the Warlock especially can be focused down swiftly since they won't have Soul Link. When it comes to race recommendations for the Horde, I would choose the Undead Warlock, since Will of the Forsaken is a very strong choice when you'll be facing many priests, warriors and warlocks in your time in the arena. For the Shadow Priest, this is where trolls really get their time in the spotlight. I know some of you may be thinking Undead is a superior choice, and don't get me wrong, Undead Shadow Priests are still very good, but trolls just have such immense potential. Their Shadow Guard is essentially like a Shaman's Lightning Shield, however it synergizes with Blackout, meaning that anytime a melee, ranged or spell hits the priest, they will have a 10% chance to get stunned for 3 seconds, and the priest can have 100% uptime on this by using a rank 1 version. On top of this, they also have Hex of Weakness, which reduces healing on a target by 20%. So when we look at the kill pressure that the team already has, and add in a healing reducing effect on top of that, it just adds another level to the offensive capabilities of the team. And if that wasn't enough, the ability to stack Bloodlust and Berserking together for even more bonus haste on spellcasting is a nightmare for teams to deal with. Hopefully I've made a good case to show why Troll Shadow Priest really can be S tier when put into the correct environment. And if you do have a Troll Priest and want to play Shadow, then this is a comp that is literally made for you. And finally, for the Shaman, I would choose Orc, since having passive stun resist is always a good thing to have. And when you really need to pump some more healing into the Warlock or Priest, then Blood Fury is a great on-demand racial to do that. Players just need to remember that it gives them a Mortal Strike effect when healing themselves, so it is important just to avoid that mistake. For the Alliance races, I would recommend a Gnome Warlock, since Escape Artist helps with dealing with the lack of mobility options, as well as increased intellect, which complements the class well. Dwarf Priests are a very strong choice to play. With Stoneform they can instantly wipe all instances of Viper Sting, Crippling Poison and all stacks of Wound Poison. They can use Chastise to incapacitate a target for 2 seconds, as well as Desperate Prayer if they need an instant cast heal. However, bear in mind since these 2 spells are classified as holy, it will break Shadow Form. And lastly, the Shaman slot has to be taken by Draenei. Overall, the only things that they can bring are increased chance to hit and Gift of the Naru, which stacks with any bonus healing the Shaman has. Overall, it's clear why Shadowplay prefers an aggressive all-out assault playstyle to put immense kill pressure on opposing teams. With an abundance of shadow damage ramping up over time, alongside a multitude of reliable crowd control, silence and interrupts, it will force many teams into playing defensively to try and weather the storm of damage this team is able to unleash. This particular team prefers to take the fight to other teams since their main asset is having such potential to overwhelm with their damage. This is also the case because overall Shadowplay doesn't have the best ability to play defensively and receive damage constantly. So this comp is very much an example of the best defense is a good offense. That's all for now. If there's a particular team composition or topic in the Burning Crusade Classic you'd like me to cover in the future, let me know in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate a like or even a subscription if you want to see some more Burning Crusade Classic content in the future. This is the Bald Boomer Biosparks signing out. Catch you lads next time.